Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made. We can choose to rejoice and be glad in it. It's always a choice, right? It's a choice to make the day amazing choice, right? So, hey, y'all, hey, where's my agenda at? Here it is. My name is Montina, and I created this daily inspiration talk. I'm telling you why I'm showing you this because I wanted a safe space and place for women that want to get and stay married, for women that want to attract the love they desire and deserve, and women that are in relationships because there is so much information out there against us in relationships and talking about men. And there are a lot of challenges in relationships, and more often than not we're going to want to give up the just give it up, throw in the towel. And I was like, wow, women are always talking about how difficult marriage is, but I never hear a solution about how difficult marriage is, right? Just communicate. Communicate what? What about when it is hard and you're just like, man, this just isn't working for me. And it's not the major threes, adultery, addiction, or abuse. What if it's just like you're annoyed with him and frustrated, and maybe there's a season in life where you have your children or challenges at work or financial. It's just a lot. And it's like, how do we get through this? So I don't know about for you, but for me, I was like, I need to be able to get through this alive, him alive, me alive, but I want to succeed. I want to thrive. I'm tired of the same old, same old. So there was nothing out there for me. So I created it. One of my girlfriends says, sis, one of my sister friends, she said, you created a whole support group for yourself. And essentially I did because I'm like, there have to be more women out there that think like me, versus the women in the world that think like, I don't want a man, I don't need a man. Okay, so that's why I created this. Plus, they're very practical things that we need to know. And thank you for sharing, Kai. I just saw your message. Thank you so much for sharing. Please share this with a sister friend. And if a sister friend shared this with you, that's because she cares. If I texted you, it's because I care. I got a lot of women that I'm friends with that I did not send this text to because I know how they already think about men. I am reading a new book about, I can't even mention it here yet because you're not ready. I might mention it in my Happy Wife Project group after I'm done. And then I'm going to probably create a whole separate support group for it. This book is off the charts about thinking about men. And there's some like vows to be taken with the book about how we think about men. And I notice how I move and how I've unintentionally done some of these things. But when we're intentional, we reap more benefits. And that's what we want. 80% of the time, your marriage, your relationships, it's going to be amazing, right? It's that 80-20 rule. Take 30 days out of the month, 24 days are like, ah. And I'm talking about even in our regular relationships. I'll text you, you'll text me. He's coming home. Hi, baby. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? But 20% of the time, which is 6 days out of the month, you're going to be like, men, oh, pause. There's some frustration. Maybe your Auntie Flo is here. If your Auntie Flo isn't here, maybe your adult kids are acting up. Your kids that are just in the house are acting up. Your grandkids. Like I said, when you get into multiple, when you've been divorced once or twice, you're dealing with step kids and step kids. See, step kids are the kids that the ex-wife had that now still call your husband because now it's different. And these are things people don't talk about. 50% of first marriages end in divorce. 67% of second marriages end in divorce. 73% of third marriages end in divorce. Less than 5% of people are even bold enough to do it. I spoke to a woman yesterday, and she's now 67, been divorced since 48, and alone. And she really, I mean, she looks good. She desires to be married. And I was like, well, have you been married before? And she was like, and I could tell she was ashamed. I said, well, I'm in my third marriage. And the reason why I'm bold about it is because life happens, lives. And you'll get people say little snarky things. Well, it must have been you. It was me. What else you want to say? I'm one of the people, it was me. It was totally me. Now what? What we going to talk about? Like we need to stop that. We are judgmental, and you don't know what went on in people's lives. And it's not always the internal. It's the external. So this is a judgment-free zone. My auntie, now my grandmother's auntie, that tell you how old she was. Okay, my grandma just turned 87. My grandma's auntie, my Aunt Martha had 7 husbands. Okay, that was a long time ago. So listen, we look out here and laugh about it, but it's not. If you're a relationship person and you want to be married, some people just ain't putting up with stuff. Okay, and sometimes I've said this on my live. Sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. Like I said, you might not be dealing with a crazy mother-in-law because she might have passed, but you might be dealing with crazy sister-in-laws, like I said, crazy step kids. You might be dealing with crazy, work is different, ethic is different. Now he's 50, 60 plus, and you're dealing with different issues in the bedroom. So you're always going to have challenges. But over here, we're going to talk about the real practical challenges. So on Mondays, I like to bring in the power because the power does come from our word. I go to church on Sundays, and it's a good word. The bishop is back, but really, what he's been talking about is Nehemiah and kind of understanding our assignment and core beliefs are some of the things I write. So when I'm taking my notes, I'm like thinking about us, okay, not just y'all, us, because I ain't up here trying to listen. I'm just trying to share some practical stuff that I'm learning as I'm getting through the journey that I'm in with my husband so that you can get through the journey with your husband and just give you some gifts that I've learned along the way about praying before I say and emotional mature and things like that. So understand your assignment. Your assignment for something, he said, it might be your husband, it might be your marriage, but I'll tell you, for all of us, if you're married, your assignment is your husband, and you're his assignment to become the best version of yourself. So when there's some contentious times, it's like, oh my God, that's when we go to the different words. Okay. Old school, they'd be like, just go to the Bible. I had to find some other alternatives than the Bible because there's some real life that has been breathed into books. So some of those things I wanted to point out today. All you got to do is go back on the live and screenshot these things. Y'all are active in the chat today. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey. So I'm going to point out some things for single women, married women, but read all the books. Okay. We have to study to show ourselves approved. And a lot of the times it just feels like, Montina, I'm doing all the work, all the work, all the work. And I'm going to talk to you about that. I'm going to talk to you about that. I'm going to talk to you about that. So some of the power I like to just point out from the power from the books. I'm going to go through these. This one is one that I recommend. It is like the single woman's Bible. Getting to I Do, the secret to getting relationships right. You will probably get engaged in 12 months or less if you can read and follow this book. Patricia Allen, she don't play in this book. And I think she was in her fourth marriage, third or fourth, when she wrote that book. The Peter Pan syndrome. Now, again, I read some of these books because I'm reading a book and it references another book. And I'm like, oh, and I read it sometimes. I don't need the knowledge all the time. Sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I can pass it along to you because I'm listening. When you speak, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm looking for cues. I am paying attention. Okay, this is a lane that God has assigned me in my life. Now, you all are not like my only assignment, right? Business is a lane for me. Public office is a lane for me. Being a mother is a lane for me. So we have different lanes that we're in. There's 8 lanes on a track, right? I used to run track. I still got some records from my high school years that haven't been broken, but it's 8 lanes. So it's not necessarily you're just assigned to one thing, but understand what you're supposed to do and read up and get the knowledge that you need for it. Right now, I'm a professor, so that's an assignment in my lane. So different assignments. Peter Pan syndrome. This is for men who never gave up. This tends to be men that are like mamas, boys. Okay, you'll recognize this in a relationship real fast. And you don't want to mother a man. You need to nurture, love, be a wife, but not a mother. So it's very clear examples in that book. How to Improve Your Marriage Without Talking About It. Now, this is a book I purchased back in like 2010 or 11. This is a long time ago. I needed it in my second marriage, but of course, I took it off the shelf because of you all. But there's quizzes in a lot of these books. And again, there are some, when you look back, I could have fixed some marriages, but I didn't want to. Again, I accept full responsibility for that. They talk about shaming favorites. The book I'm actually reading now that I'm not going to mention just yet talks about shaming. A lot of the language that we're using is emasculating or castrating a man. It is cutting him to the core. But sometimes you just don't know. Some of the other shaming favorites she has, in this book, Husband and Wife, there's about, well, I don't want to say 100, but it's about 50, easy. These are a list of things that we do to shame men, which is emasculating them, believing they always know what's best for the relationship, meaning you, rolling your eyes, giving the look, being sarcastic, ridiculing, suggesting a better way, having unrealistic expectations, criticizing him in front of other people, making him feel unnecessary, condescending, name calling, belittling his work, showing little to no interest in his interests, criticizing his family. See, again, we need some things just brought to our awareness because society, TikToks make it funny. Facebook makes it funny. All of these memes make it funny, and it's not. The book I'm reading now, I literally cannot put down. I'm trying to get done with this, get done with my work today because I want to finish it. Like I can't put it down. That's how good it is. But it really helps rewire our brain. How to Love a Black Man, whether you're married or single, How to Love a Black Man. Now, here's one that's a little tough to read. It's long, it's just a lot to get through. I mean, it was a lot. But Shahrazad Ali, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. And listen, if you're black, white, yellow, blue, my son-in-law's half Asian, my daughter-in-law's half white. This is just the things that I read because I'm black. Okay, I'm an American descendant of slavery, but I'm going to read anything that's going to help me. Okay, I don't care who wrote it. It just happens to be this woman wrote these books, but it doesn't matter. But she literally, in this book, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, she literally has the following hints or signs that a Black woman will possibly make a good wife to the Black man. She is attentive and a good listener. She enjoys going partying, but has an equally good time at home. She will have a strong spiritual commitment that helps her distinguish between right and wrong. She literally has 23 little things. So I was like, you know what? Some of this stuff is like, oh, if you didn't learn it, you didn't understand it. It's like a checklist for you. Am I doing these things? So it's a checklist against the things that you're doing in your life. And again, we just want to be great. A lot of this is just, okay, Montina, it's brought to my remembrance. Oh, I can do this. Because I'm telling you, I've had to pray before I say and be emotionally mature very recently. And even me, y'all, I don't get it right all the time. I don't get it right all the time, but then I can reflect back and say, what could I have done different? The big leap. Some of you just really need to shift your mindset. I'm meeting women and they're just like, you guys just have just literally given up. Nah, I don't want to date this type of man. I'm in a steppers community. And this one woman, I mean, she's sharp, but she's like 67. And she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't do that. At 67, honey, your options are limited. Then I go in here and say these things. And then people get offended at the truth. I'm a truth teller. Okay. So I was talking to her yesterday and she said, um, all men want sex. I said, what man doesn't want sex? Like, I'm so confused. And she literally was like, oh, you're right. What are y'all? This is crazy to me. Now, what you should be asking is, how can I get him to commit? If I'm going to have sex with you, and if you decide not to have sex till marriage, then you do that too. You do what's right for you. But at least getting to I do, she talks about that. Okay, but don't be offended because a man is attracted to you and wants to have sex. My husband probably would have had sex with me the first date if I would have let him, but I didn't. That's just not how I do things. I can't do those types of things. But there are women that do. There are people that marry their spouses that way. Again, you have to rewire your mindset as it relates to what you want and be realistic at your age and be realistic about what you qualify for because I do see some women, again, I can say it here, that what you want, you don't qualify for based on your looks, based on your attitude, based on your shape, and not because you're not skinny or this and that, but you're just older. So we're going older and the men are going younger. Isn't that crazy? But it is what it is. But think differently. Like stop, think these are big books that can help you. The Magic to Thinking Big, Big Leap. I read this book probably back in 2000. I write my books. I said, to finish this book 9/1/2012, and there was definitely a mind shift. This book was one of the best reads in my business book library. It was a recommendation from leaders or readers, blah, blah, blah. I actually left my full-time job when I read this book, so be careful. When you start thinking big and you see my little cliff notes, you think big, y'all. You think big. And I ain't even got to my practical side because I just don't want us to play because you can have a thriving, successful marriage and life not be miserable, but you're going to go in the valley. But what do you do to get out the doggone valley? Other books. Laura Schlesinger, Dr. Laura, she used to be popular way back in the day, back in the 2000s. 10 stupid things couples do to mess up their relationships. Stupid things. Okay, don't be stupid. He's scared, she's scared. Understand the hidden fear sabotaging your relationships. Okay, I can't get too super duper deep in Cancun, I will. But sometimes men just don't understand when women like us come into their lives to love them. Can you imagine just to be loved because of who you are, not what you're doing? Just to love every single unique, crazy, weird quality about them because you just do. Their smile, their smell, their walk, their gait, everything just turns you on. Some men just, they don't even know how to receive that. Okay. And they'll sabotage the relationship. And some of you don't know how to accept and receive it from men that just adore you and cherish you and admire you and love you, because I see it. They love you. So some of y'all have, and I actually had to get this because I noticed when I started to sabotage my relationship before I married my husband, I noticed I was starting to pull back out of some sorts of fear because I've never had this type of protection. I didn't have that type of adoration. But my husband's a very performative, like he does everything. And there were some other things that I had to say, hey, I like attention and quality time and physical and all of this. But my husband would do anything. So I was like, he'd bring gifts up to my house all the time, to the point where I'd say, hey, please stop. Like, this is, I don't need you to do this. Or he'd come and clean my house. I had a maid at the time. Even recently, I said, hey, I want to get a maid to come clean our bathrooms. He said, He said, you don't have to do it. I'll do it. And I was like, no, 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 it's okay. Because I only clean the bathrooms in the kitchen. But still, he was like, no, no, no. He mopped the floor over the weekend. So again, what is it? And you might say, oh my God, but there's other things. That's why I always point out he's good for me. I'm hardwired to handle my husband. And sometimes when you all are sharing about your husbands and women are lusting after your husbands, like, oh, where can I find a man like him? Start saying that to them, honey. Yeah, listen, I don't know if you could deal with it. Do you want to go to the gym every day? I don't know if you're hardwired to handle my husband. I don't know if you're hardwired to shut your mouth. I don't know if you're hardwired to be emotionally mature. I don't know if you're hardwired. So that's why I be telling women, because I get it. They be like, oh, you can't handle this up in here, honey. I let them know. Attached, anxious, avoidant, secure. What type of, this here was when I read this book, I said, this is the one for me. Okay. And y'all gonna have to give me some extra time today. If you don't have it, come back to the replay. Proper care and feeding of a marriage. Again, Dr. Laura Schlesinger. If we haven't seen these things, then this is what our marriage is gonna look like. It's just gonna always be complicated. Our whole lives gonna be complicated all the time. We don't know what to do. There ain't no wives school. Nobody's teaching us. And I'm gonna do it as long as I can. Because again, I'm not trying to teach, but I'm just trying to share and say there's resources. And y'all don't even see all the books I have on my Kindle. Oh my gosh. I have 50 books minimum that I put in the Happy Wife Project. And now I still probably got another 25 to add. I'm always constantly learning and reading. So the things that I wanted to make very practical when I do these calls today. So that's the power. Okay. And these are just some, again, from my notes. I want you to understand how to pray before you say. With men, you have to be emotionally mature. I don't know what it is, but they just are very, they're just different. And we do expect them to be our girlfriends. That's why I am an advocate for sister friends. That's why I text women. That's why I'm friends with women. That's why I'm friendly to women. That's why I talk to women and tell them they're pretty. I like their outfits. I am complimentary and I'm sincere, because as women, you really are looking for that from a man. And often a man can't be a woman. You're looking for things from women because you didn't grow up around, these masculine energy men. And most of the time they don't talk a lot. They just want to do. They just want to solve problems. They want to come home and do. And if they sit down, they want to watch, I call Tubi the soft porn. My husband said, I'm watching my soft porn today. They just want to relax if they want to relax. Maybe they want to drink a beer. And I talk about that book, The Way of the Superior Man, because he talks about why men like to drink beer. Okay, why they love your feminine energy, why you charm them, why they just love to stare at you, why they admire your beauty, why they just literally just want you in the room. So for another 5 minutes, let me get into the purpose of marriage is to make you the best version of yourself. So when you're getting in these relationships and something just feels off, give it some time, especially if you're a little older. There's a book called oh gosh, why men marry some women and others they do not, something like that. But he have a specific chapter about marrying over 40. It's not the same in your 20s when you're dating and you're meeting in college. It's not the same. All right, so the last thing here is I had in my notes. I get very practical, and I put in here, don't be afraid to look in the mirror. And I talked about the older woman I know now at 67, and she's super attractive. Her body, like, I think she's beautiful. But again, I'm not a man. I judge her off a woman's standards. And I realized when I'm at my Pilates studio, we have a mirror on one side with it's a bar, like a ballet bar. And on the other side, there's a wall. Well, most of the time, if we're doing exercises and I'm looking at another woman, I'll turn and look at myself in the mirror. And some of us do it. Like sometimes I'm the leader and others will turn. And I realize a lot of women are afraid to look at themselves in the mirror. I look at myself. One lady was like, I'm going to look at my form. I was like, I just want to look at myself. I love myself. Okay. If you know my story, I came from the gutter. I love myself. I don't have a problem looking at Montina. But some of you are so afraid to look in the mirror. And I just put some things down, and we probably will have to go over these things later this week. But some of you are so super sensitive. And so you get in a relationship. I used to be like this. Sometimes I still am. My husband, I was hurt about something, and I'm crying. He's like, I don't care about them tears. Like, my husband is just not that guy. Tears do not move him. And I'm a very girly girl sensitive person, but and sometimes I recognize like, hey, it's just a little too sensitive for him. He can't handle that part of me. Put in the work. Sometimes we're looking in the mirror, and some of the girls by me just don't want to put in like, oh my God, I do is complain and this and that. I want to say, up, shut up. If you don't want to come in this gym and work, just don't. I know y'all need to come, but shh, because the results that you get, and again, that's for our marriage. And again, take this with your marriage, because y'all need to work on being the best version of yourself you can be. Okay, beauty is important for a man. That's like 80%. The other thing is being consistent. You're afraid to look in the mirror because you're not consistent. You're not consistent in your relationships. You're not consistent in going out to. You're not consistent in meeting men. You're just not consistent with your language and understanding men. Some of y'all just tired. I get it. You've been hurt. I'm in my third marriage. Y'all think I ain't been hurt? I got 3 kids with an ex that I haven't spoken to in probably about 17 years. For the first time ever, I wished him a happy Father's Day. And again, I'm transparent. I don't know any other way to be. Okay, you think I wasn't tired when I met my husband? I didn't want to date. My daughter put me on Match.com. Once I started getting messages, I was like, okay, my husband pursued me relentlessly because he knew. That's why I tell y'all, if you glow up, men, you won't have a problem attracting men. They are literally going to chase after you. Even little boys will be mesmerized with you. And she talks about that in the book, Getting to I Do. Little boys are really mesmerized with feminine. My grandson, baby, he just be looking at his Grammy. He be smiling all the time at me. But boys, you'll notice with little kids, they are very attracted to your energy. Some of y'all just need to be in maintenance mode again. Don't get too comfortable in your relationships, but you're in maintenance mode. Everything's good. You ain't in the deep in the valley. You up here, but just get in maintenance mode, but just continue to do the work. Continue to do the work and just be amazing. I talked on a video. You don't have to do. We are not performative. We need to just be. Okay, study just being feminine. That's why in other cultures and countries they have maids. Okay, that's what I told my husband. Certain things I just don't want to do, and he was like, no, don't worry about it, baby. Just be. Okay. What is most challenging? Today we were doing these 2-pound weights, but when you're doing 2 pounds literally for 30 minutes and 5 different exercises, whoo, okay. So, yes, that is challenging. But what's most challenging for you? Is it challenging at certain times of the month? Is it challenging when he says certain things? What are your triggers? I had to recognize my husband has triggers. There are certain things that just trigger him. And I just really try to avoid those certain things because I don't want to have contention. I don't want to argue. We don't argue, but I don't want to be in a fall season. And if you read the 4 seasons or understand, you understand that too. Are you celebrating your outcomes? Some of you just don't celebrate nothing. I'm an entrepreneur, so I help a lot of entrepreneurs. And one got has a nonprofit, and she got a $5,000 grant, and she just didn't say nothing about it. So I'm asking her, she's like, "Oh yeah, I got it." I said, "Well, can we pause to celebrate it? Being engaged is good. You on your 5th day? Oh, girl, he's calling a little bit more. He's more consistent. He's texting. I texted my husband this morning. He responded. I was like, whoa, okay. And I mentioned that I sent him photo. He don't respond. And I was like, can you respond some of the time? He responded yesterday. They get the memo. They're listening, sis. They're listening. Celebrate those successes. Are you with the right people? And again, at the gym, I don't stand next to certain people because they complain. I'm not in the gym to complain. I am in the gym to work. None of us really like being there. Are you kidding? It's hard. It's hard to push the plate back. I like sweets. So once in a while, I have my little, fudgesicle, drumstick, because I like to eat. I have to exercise. Okay. So be around the right people encouraging you. Watch what women say about men. And again, the book I'm reading now, oh my God, it's so good. But I'm not around women that talk dog out men. If they say something negative, I pretty much say something positive. I love men. I think they're amazing. They work hard, they're diligent. Are there some sorry ones? Yeah, but there's some sorry women too. Okay, my mother's one of them, and I say that because I've never met her, and she just walked away, and I'm almost 50 years old. So there's sorry women too. Okay, we can't just blame this on one person. There's some people in the world that have just shook off their responsibilities. Other thing is, again, where's the discomfort? My body had been achy. I got a massage, and she said, "You need to go to the spa. You got lactic acid built up in your ankle. You need to get to the spa." Went to the spa. Guess what? My ankle don't even hurt this morning. I was like, "Oh," she said, "See? So where's the discomfort, and what do you need to do, sis? Be a little bit calmer, but be consistent." When my husband and I have challenges, I don't want to write a note. I don't want to send a text, but I still do. Be consistent. Challenge your beliefs, ask yourself questions, and check in with your feelings. So, the call to action, and I'm going to start leaving us with this today. I want you to check in with your feelings. I have a little thing I have on the refrigerator. I have no idea where I got this. Maybe y'all can Google it. But every day I check in with my feelings. And today, most time it's happy, but today I'm just a little exhausted. I went through some things over the weekend. And I was like, "Oh, that's just how I feel." And it's literally up on the fridge, and I check in daily. So, check in with your feelings. Take a screenshot of this and just check in. In my journal, every day I try to check in with my feelings. Okay. So this was a little longer. If someone invited you, this was a lot longer than we normally go, but I had a lot to say. And hobbies are important. So back to my agenda, hobbies are important. Your hobbies make you happy. I Chicago step because it's become a hobby and it really makes me happy. Going to Pilates makes me happy. I have a whole list of things. Write down things that make you happy. Also, your self care and self maintenance. Self care, it really helps you spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally. You need it, sis. Okay, you need to find something that really grounds you as a woman so that you can be instead of doing, especially as Black women. You do, and then you're exhausted. Now, I ain't exhausted because I was doing, I had some mental stuff, had some, emotional stuff going on. And I don't like when my marriage is in the summer all the time. I want it to stay in an eternal fire, eternal summer. But sometimes I'm in the valley. I'm coming about the valley. I'm peeping over the hill, and I'm here to encourage and inspire you, but I'm inspiring and encouraging myself too. I don't always get it right. Men, oh, pie. Sometimes they do stuff you be like, what the? And I'm gonna tell you, I say the real F bomb word. I got like four of those here I use. Like, what is going on? And it's not you. Like I said, there's a lot of external factors, and especially my husband and I dealing with a lot outside of us because it's not my kids, his kids. It's not our kids. It's your kids, my kids, and that's a lot different because we can't help each other because my kids aren't his responsibility and his kids are not my responsibility. You need your sister circle, unicorns and rainbows. This how you doing? Where you get that lipstick? How do you get your skin like that? Where you get your hair done? Where'd you get that hat at? That's unicorns and rainbows. You need to make sure you're not going so super duper deep in relationships that you are making your friend your therapist. Okay. Get some therapy, y'all. Go get you a life coach. Okay. Especially if you can get your hair, nails, and stuff done. You need somebody to talk to. Now, I do talk to my hairstylist because that's your hairstylist. That's what you do. You go to your hairstylist and you talk. But I have a therapist, I have a marriage counselor, and I have a life coach. And guess what? I go to marriage counseling by myself. My husband won't go. Tina, you go? Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do. Because at the end of the day, there are still some things I have to get off my chest. I got to tell somebody something, and I don't want to overshare with my friends or my grandma or whomever. So I go to a counselor where it's a safe space. We all need a safe space. Put on the whole armor, y'all. You got to put on the whole armor, Ephesians 6:11, because this is a real world out there and you are under a real attack. Somebody wants your husband. Somebody wants you because you glowing up. You walking around with your little cute self, okay? Put on the whole armor, the weapons of warfare. Get a book and start reading. You guys are on Facebook and TikTok and you all over, Twitter. You here on YouTube, and thank you for coming to my live. I appreciate you. But at the end of the day, you have to start self-reflecting. God, talk to me, speak to me. What do I need to understand? Study these men. And once you're in it, you still got to keep studying. This is a life journey, lifelong. It says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper because the joy of the Lord is your strength. Joy on a woman is beautiful. It is beautiful. You are glorious. You literally, I go in places, they just be like, Montina, you look so pretty. You look this and that. And all I got on is lipstick. I take care of my skin, but I got a little ring light on right now, but literally I just walk around. But honey, I be my little cute self. Go get you some Pilates classes and get in the flow. I like Pilates not for women because it's very feminine. There's some things y'all are doing that just don't bring out your feminine. I went and took me a sultry dance class. I can't post that online. But look at my Chicago step videos. Look how I move. You want things that move feminine. I don't want to look like a man. I want to be in my feminine. Now, some of you want to be in your masculine. And no judgment zone. I was in my masculine in my second marriage. I was the masculine energy. I still was feminine, but I paid all the bills. I wanted to lead everything. And I liked it. I like being able to tell them what to do. But I realized in this marriage here, I was like, yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that leadership role anymore. But for some of y'all, it's cool. That's what I say. Some women I know a lot of very powerful women. There's a nonprofit I had as a client. These women are just like in the pharmaceutical industry. Sometimes they make hundreds of thousands, over 400,000 a year, and they have house husbands. So you can't judge people based on that because some people are very comfortable with those roles. But it's again, it's up to you. So I'm going to run from here. Um, it was a longer live. Thank y'all for joining me every day, 7:30 to 7:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we have people from all over the world joining us. I'll be here. Okay. I'll be here, y'all. We're going to get this right. And I will tell you, and I have to text one of my girlfriends. Her husband was actually encouraging me about something with my husband over the weekend, and it was just beautiful. Some things we want to be overnight, but sis, just be patient, be kind. God's timing is perfect. He is a faithful God. And I promise you, you're here, you're doing the work. You've heard all of this. It's not going to fall to the wayside because I believe that you all are good ground. This is good soil. But one of the reasons I take notes at church is because the enemy, as soon as you leave, most of the time you can't remember anything. That's why I take the notes. That's why I say go back, get the book so that you're constantly in overflow in your life, in your relationships, in your being. Okay. Let me look at the chats. I don't think I can get through all the chats today. Oh my gosh, y'all been chopping it up over here. Hey, Yapa, thank you everybody that joined me today. All the new folks, Kai, I see you. Hey, Gia, I see you. Hey, Nick, I see you. Rosetta, thank you for joining. Hey, from LA, you up early. Hello, 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 hello. I see some of y'all were acting up. Your pa gonna get you, okay? Don't be acting up in here. Thank you, your pa. I really appreciate you. And just again, I'm here to help y'all. Listen, I go through things just like you go through things, but together we are going to have thriving relationships. Raquel, I see you too. Hi, Sophia. Hey, Deshonda. I see all of you. I love you guys. Gotta run. Have an amazing rest of the day. Bye. Oh, bye, y'all.